Hey guys, what is going on? It is Ando, and today we got finally some news. Any news would have been welcome, but we finally got the news that I've been expecting for some time, which is the Naboo raid information. Now, why is this important? We need to know what we're doing. And honestly, when they release Endor, I felt like as soon as they announced Endor, they're like, hey, these are some lists of characters that we're gonna you guys can expect. We got, I think, every single one of those characters were used. So I'm glad they finally gave us the list. We'll go over it. We'll go over some of the things that I think are going to be really important as you guys start to think about how you guys want to actually craft your raid teams. Now, full disclosure, right? We don't know everything about the raid. We don't know exactly what we're going for. So a lot of these teams are going to be best guess. They also give the disclaimer, right, that some of these things, it's still in development, right? So they can finalize and change things. So anyways, first thing to note, I thought this was very interesting. I might be reading into it too much because they don't mention anything else, but you know, it does say you and your guild must engage the enemy both on land and in space to defend Naboo at all costs, right? I think that could just be like the mission statement, right? Like I said, we don't see any ships here. I'm really disappointed that we went through the entire Phantom Menace and we did not get the Naboo starfighter. I forgot what it is, like the N1, right, or something like that. I just really disappointed. I really wanted that. But I guess it's not about that. So here's the thing. So we have in all these raids and like territory battles and all that stuff, we have the hero characters. These characters are going to have 25% max protection and offense and plus 20% mastery. And whenever the character inflicts a debuff, they're going to recover 10% health and protection. And then they're going to gain 10% defense and offense stacking for one turn. So the hero characters are Jar Jar Binks, Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, and Stab. Now, there's quite a bit of debuffs in all those guys, right? So you're going to be kind of recovering here and helping aid like your regen, and you're also going to be gaining that offense and defense. So I do think that's going to become a play here, obviously, as we move into this. But we got basically five bonuses, so or five character bonus heroes, I guess, and there's 5 attempts in this raid, which we'll get into. We won't go too much into the faction bonuses because I don't want to read too much into them, because again, the way that this kind of works is they give us these lists of requirements and these lists of like buffs and all these other things, and then sort of the people that start really looking into the mechanics start to go, all right, like I think we can actually just kind of omit this entire thing, or just not even focus on this faction, right? Like, I mean, if you guys remember Crate Raid, there wasn't too many people that were like, oh my god, you really have to get Jawas, like they're just so important. We just made 2 Hutt Cartel teams. We made an Old Republic team, we made a Mandalorian team, and then like that was kind of it, right? Like it wasn't like, no one was like, oh my gosh, you guys must get Jawas, like they're so important, even though they were like on the faction list essentially. So like I said, I'm not going to read too much into it. They give some stuff in here, right, about like what you're going to do. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, I guess, is the big indicator. We'll go through the allowed characters a little bit later inside the game. I've got it kind of broken down a little bit more. I'd say user friendly. It is going to cost us 180k tickets, and you are going to get the 5 attempts. So just like Crate Raid, we're going to move away from the 8 attempts with 3 different characters. A lot of them can be done with 2, but they gave us 3, so it's like a max of like 24 characters. This time we get 5 attempts, right? So you figure that it's a squad of 5, so 25 characters. This is why, honestly, the raid, the Endor raid was so nice, because a lot of those teams were, 2-mans. So you were able to kind of get your 8 attempts in with like 16 characters. We'll see what ends up happening. Maybe there will be some opportunities in this raid where like it's a 3-man. Yeah, and I'm not going to go too much over the actual like multipliers and all that stuff. the big thing to note, and what is going to be the big news, is that and there's mixed reviews here, right? Like, but that we are gonna get a Relic 9 box, or like a Relic 9, level, I guess. So the thing with it, they say here, is that the level 7 is new with this raid, and with the increased level, the max reward will also increase. Right now, does this mean that we're going to get more of the Mark III? Does this mean that there's going to be additional things that we can buy with the Mark III? Or we're going to get a Mark IV? I doubt we get a Mark IV, but it would be nice if there was like something else added to it, right? At this point, I've gotten the max box since January. And while I still am doing a ton with relics and stuff like that, I can honestly say that the materials that I can purchase with raid currency aren't usually what's holding me back. And I think it's a lot of people, right? Like, I think we want some more options in the store if we're going to increase this box. I've heard some people speculate, right? Like maybe it's R10 that's in there. Maybe it's, some other thing. Maybe it's more relic, actual like signal data. Who knows, right? But at this point, we do know we're going to get a new crate. I do think that it's probably just going to be an increase in some of those currencies. I guess we'll see, though, how this all pans out. So with that being said, though, we are going to go ahead and open up the game and talk about what are the teams, right? And again, remember, we have 5 attempts, but I want to kind of list this out. And what I obviously can't rank these yet, but this should at least maybe give you some ideas on where we're going to allocate some of these resources so we can at least get ready for this raid, so we don't drop our raid score incredibly low and have to kind of build back up, right? There's always going to be a little bit of building period, but the most, or I guess the most we can minimize that, the better, right? So obviously first we've got the Gungans. They've basically said that these guys are going to be like a GL in this raid. Just real quick glancing through, I can see how it's going to happen, especially with the whole debuff thing, right? These guys spit out debuffs like it's their job. So yeah, like this here is going to be an interesting thing. Now, maybe there's a way that we become like I said, maybe it's like a HUD cartel where somehow we're able to get 2 teams out of it. I don't know. But for right now, we're going to just call Gungans one of your attempts. Probably one of your better teams that you would be able to relic into an actual team. They're pretty much meta right now. So sure, why not? Go all out for them. So I got Queen Amidala next with the 2 other heroes, right? So again, Jar Jar Binks, the first few squads here are the heroes, and I think we want to center around those because those guys are probably going to be where we end up somewhere in, like that's what they want us to use. They've given these guys extra buffs. I think we'll probably find a way of making good use of them. So on Queen Amidala, that's an interesting one because we do actually have 2 heroes on this team. So is it this one of those things where you break off Padawan Obi-Wan and maybe he goes with Keller and Beck, and you bring on kind of another guy to kind of help Queen Amidala fulfill that role? I don't know, right? Or maybe this is able to do 4-man. I don't know, but I obviously put the trio here first, and then I saw there was like some leftovers, so I just put R2 and GMY. I have no idea if those are going to be applicable, but R2 is on a GL squad, so I was like, let's just go ahead and just put him in there because if he fits, he fits. That'd be great. I've already got him at R9. And then GMY, he's kind of fallen off in a little bit. There's not as many uses as him now, but Jedi are always kind of at a premium. You're gonna find a home for him. There's plenty of things, even if it is just his home is to be the target. Because so many people just target GMY, the AI. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he would fit in here somewhere. Okay, so then I kind of just put the Sith boyos in here. Now, again, Maul is your hero in this one. They talk about how Sidious is going to have a separatist lead. So I don't know if some of these separatists kind of come up here and like Newt becomes like a support, or what, you know, what the overall intent is. But Darkseid is a very weird, is in a very weird state for this, because you basically get one team, and again, Stap is another hero. So another thing to remember here is that this was, I just called it like Newt Seps. This is a team, and it's got a hero in it. So the only leftover that we have is Droideka. You know, I don't know if, you know, maybe he fits in where IG 100 is and you put him up here, but granted, to say like, or all this to say, like, we aren't seemingly coming up with two teams here, right? So there's going to be, I would think, one team. Like I said, maybe Newt is the lead and Darth Maul is in here, or maybe we just are going to take the 5 best characters in here, 2 of them being the heroes, and that's what we're going to go with. Darth Sidious lead, go for it kind of thing. I'm not sure. And then we've got GR1. Again, don't read too much into the GRs. This was just more or less like, how can we come up with a way that maybe makes sense? And, you know, one of the things that they said is that, like, hey, whenever you have a leader that's a healer, you'll be able to have like a certain, you know, amount of buffs. And again, through that whole post, it kind of explains it out. I thought it seemed worthwhile. Again, I don't think that this is going to be the actual like splits for the Jedi, but, you know, at the very end of the day, you're kind of left over with Eth Koth and Jedi Knight Guardian. So 2 of them probably won't get used. All right. But, you know, the other, you know, it does seem like this is attempt. So we got, like I said, attempt 1, attempt 2. This is all probably attempt 3. And then this will cover your 4 and 5. Right. Somehow, some way, we're going to mix and match all these. Again, I kind of put Cam with the healer because he's got, you know, his unique, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I wouldn't read too much into how I broke up the comps, just that I would think that this is probably the way we're going. Kelleran's got the most dominant lead, right? Like, you could choose Qui-Gon, but I don't think it's going to work as well. You know, Plo Koon's is probably not going to work as well. So I think, like I said, I'm pretty confident that Luminara is probably going to be a lead, and Kelleran's probably going to be a lead for these 2 GR squads. But what the actual, how you divvy that up, like I said, I could see maybe like Padawan Obi-Wan sneaking into here, you moving someone else up to here in order to try to balance those scores out. But anyways, hopefully this was at least visually helpful. Just wanted to create a video so that way we can talk about the raid, what we're going to be doing for it. Hopefully it was just a little fun exercise for you to just say, okay, cool. Like, I can kind of see where we're going with this. Pick out some of these characters that I think are going to be, you know, especially if you're going to go for those heroes. Those are the ones that you're going to want to push up to the higher relics. That way, hopefully you could build a squad around them. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.